Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 139, titled New Jersey Devils Fan for Life, because we've got a hardcore New Jersey Devils fan coming up shortly in about 10 minutes. His name is Tyler Bleszinski, founder of SB Nation and Vox Media. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Nick Villano, Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief. I'm actually live in between the game at Taj Lounge 973, which, by the way, Nick, you will be making an appearance here, I believe, next Thursday, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live, not Twitch, because that Amazon thing yesterday, everything's screwed up with that Twitch at the moment.
Light it on
but
fire.
We're streaming live on the Primetime Radio Network. How are you, Nick? How are you?
I'm doing pretty
today?
good. It's been rough watching Devils hockey before tonight, so it's nice that we're in the lead. But this team sucks, and that sucks. I don't like that. I don't like having to write about a bet. Like, here's the thing. Maybe I want to point this out. Maybe I'm the problem. This is now the fifth
I'm gonna lay
season that
back
I've
and
covered.
listen.
This is now the fifth season that I've covered New Jersey Devils hockey, and they had one good one, and I wasn't even like crushing it. You know what I mean? Like we weren't huge then. You know, I was still kind of getting a handle of the whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it a beat, but like getting a handle of the blog and the fan base. Like I had blogged for 5 years before that, but I was never like running the website. You know, running the Twitter account, running. You know, I was never like the guy like I am with pucks. So, you know, maybe, and then once I started getting the hang of it, we started losing. Hell, Sam, I want to write about a good team. I want to blog about a good team. I want to tweet about a good team. I want to tweet about the postseason. You know what I mean? So, everybody saw the David Blitzer interview. Oh, I don't know if everybody did, but David Blitzer spoke on the intermission show with Bryce and everybody getting mad at Bryce and Erica. Like, stop it. That's stupid. You know, to get the owner of a team on, you have to follow certain protocols. If he came on this show, we'd have to follow certain protocols. You know, it just is what it is. So stop getting mad at Bryce and Erica for asking the questions they asked. But, you know, to say something like we need to have patience, it's one thing to say I like the track we're on. It's one thing to say, hey, there's things to like about this team, because that's all true. But to sit here and say the fans have to have patience, shut up. Straight up. Shut up.
I can't agree with you more. David Blitzer's across the street at the Prudential Center where I'm sitting here at Todd's Lounge 973. Let me tell you something. After 8 years of rebuilding, I want to take the Vancouver Canucks owner's approach, who told ESPN.com, maybe I was a little too patient. I'm tired of being patient. I want winning. That's all I want. And as I'm watching that interview, Nick, my thoughts, first off, Erica and Bryce, I thought did a great job, because you know what? It takes a lot of courage to talk to somebody of that stature, being the co-manager. Co-manager. They can't say owner now. It's like co-managing partner of the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, co-managing partner. Stupid.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. At least he tried, but it just sounded too scripted and disingenuous. That's just my opinion.
It did sound scripted.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'm angrier now. And like I understand that Bryce and Erica said they have, you know, they're both feeling more excited after hearing it. I'm not. I'm feeling a little annoyed. I'm going to be honest with you, and this might get me in trouble. Sam, I'm going to the Prudential Center for this is my life has been so crazy that I haven't been to the Prudential Center. Oh, this can't be true.
What's that?
I'm trying to think of the last time I went to the Prudential Center. So I went. You're not going to believe me, Sam. Do you know the last time I went to the Prudential Center? No, this can't be true.
2012?
2012? I think it was 2014 when Zach Parise returned for the first time as a member of the Wild. I bought tickets to boo him. Listen, to be fair, I was in college at the time, and we were pretty low on funds, we'll say. So I couldn't afford to go to the games. And then when we did go to the games, my wife is a Penguins fan. So when I was at Morgantown, West Virginia, which is an hour away from Pittsburgh, so we went to I went to a Devils Pittsburgh game at Prudential, but maybe that was before that. Either way, nobody cares about this timeline. I'm talking about something stupid because the Devils made me angry. But I'm going for the first time since I've been an established writer. Since the past 3 years where the blog is doing well, people are starting, the team actively ignores me because they know that I write about them and I say mean things sometimes. I say mean things on this podcast sometimes. Let's say that. It's the first time since I've been a co-host of the Let's Go Devils State of the Fan address. It's the first time that I'll be at the Prudential Center. So this is an exciting development. And I want to meet all the fans. Like, that's the thing. I talk to all these people at the games all the time on Twitter, and I'm like, I feel like a little bit of a creeper because I'm talking to all these people. I was like, I don't even know you people. Like, personally, I would like to meet you people. So if you're listening to this, once I figure out exactly what section I'm sitting in, first of all, you got to be nice because I'm going to be with my father-in-law. But come say hi. I'll be excited to meet you. But before we get our guest on, Sam, because we're going to have our guest on momentarily, very excited to talk to Tyler. One of the he started SB Nation, one of the most popular sports blogs in America, and kind of, it's kind of an exciting day for me. Somebody who's been sports blogging for so long to talk to a sports blogging legend. But I will say, for the owner to come on during a 4-game losing streak, when you're desperately trying to beat your crosstown rival, who's lost 9 games in a row. And you couldn't score in the first period. And not that it was a bad first period, but, it's not like you're coming on when it's 2-0 now and saying, be patient. I'm sorry. You signed Dougie Hamilton because the time to be patient was I don't want to say it's over. They just scored again. Pavel Zacha just ended. Pavel Zacha and Dawson Mercer both ending their scoreless streaks tonight was a big deal. But to say you want patience, come on. It was not the right tone to set. I understand it's an exciting night for them. It's the black jerseys. It's the first time they're wearing them. People seem to be turning the corner on the black jerseys. I haven't. I hate the logo, but it is what it is. Yeah. I always liked the rest of the jersey. I always liked the numbers, the stripes, the color scheme. I hate the logo, and that ruins the jersey for me. I just think it's just a silly concept. But anyway, I think that if you're the Devils – And if you're the Devils managing partners, I know you have to promote, these wonderful things and how excited we are and yada, yada, yada. But maybe try to do it with a separate tone. Oh, that looks like they're challenging the goal. But that's just kind of my 2 cents. Sam, I believe it's guest time.
Yes, it's definitely guest time. I'm excited. You're excited. Everybody's excited. Our special guest, his name is Tyler Bleszinski, founder of Vox Media and SB Nation. You can find him on Twitter at PoppyBlez. Tyler, welcome to the State of the Fan address.
Let's see if I can get the camera correct here. Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Not quite.
Move to your right, Tyler, and you'll be good.
No, move to your left. Move to your left. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Go back.
No, Sam, it's his right.
Work on
that. You're killing me, Sam. You're good right there, Tyler. Now you're gone again. There you go. Just stay right there. Right here. Right here is perfect. Okay. All right, Tyler. We full screened you. This whole time we had a full screen option. Sam's just holding out on us.
Oh, man. Nick, you are one angry dude, man.
I'm sorry. Sometimes first of all, I'm an Italian from New Jersey, the Jersey Shore of all places. You really think that I'm going to sit here and not yell? Come on, Tyler.
No, believe me, I understand. And trust me, I've been going through my emotions with this team as well for quite some time. So, I get it. Although I tend to still be positive, but maybe that's why they suck the hope out of you, because they give you that positivity and then they pull the rug out from under you, and then you get angry. The great salesmanship of all sports is hope, right? Selling hope. And and I mean, the way I look at it is I was really happy with the offseason they had. I really was. Like, I thought Tatar was a great signing. I thought, Bernier as a backup was a great addition that would help ease a little bit of the pressure on Blackwood. Certainly better than Comrie and and Wedgwood, and although Wedgwood suddenly become a god. Yeah. Or any of the other guys who were our goalies last year. So, I'm still optimistic because they're technically 500 right now. There's a lot of teams, but there's 82 games, and I still am high on this team. The one thing that scares me is that they haven't had a COVID pause yet. So I'm going to knock on wood right now, but it seems like every team's going to go through that at some point this season. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely, like, you saw what it did to us last season. The team was just could not recover from that. They came out of the gate gangbusters, just like Ottawa has from their COVID outbreak, and then it just kind of falls apart. So you're right. I mean, that's definitely something that you have to worry about. I hope, with the vaccines and the fact that everybody's vaccinated, the impacts from what I've researched is much less. So I would hope that it puts them in a better position. God forbid that does happen, at least it'll only be missing players for those nights instead of long-term impacts like it was for Blackwood and Hughes and a few of the other players on the team.
Yeah. The thing that, to me, that separates, and it's a small thing, and I don't know if it can be measured with analytics or, my baseball team and how I started SB Nation is the Oakland A's. So obviously Moneyball's a big thing for me. Understanding hockey analytics and the fact that they're still really, I think, very much evolving as to whether they're an accurate measure or not. But I don't understand what Ruff has been doing with some of the lines and some of the approach that he's been doing. I mean, they seem pretty good tonight, but I still would like to see Johnson with, I guess he's going by Johnson instead of Janssen now, but Johnson back with Mercer and just reunite the Sharangovich, Kuokkanen, Hughes line of last year. Like, they hockey chemistry is such a weird thing that that when you find something that works, you have to, and nobody can really explain why that particular lineup worked. But I mean, Sharangovich clearly looks better with Hughes now, but Kuokkanen hasn't really gotten going this year. Maybe just put him back there, put Johnson back with Mercer, and go from there. And as well as Jimmy Vesey's done and as good as he is, I would put him back on the fourth line until Miles Wood gets healthy. So
yeah, and I think that's definitely an option. And you brought up the weird chemistry. Look at who Sidney Crosby's been paired with for his entire career. They put the best wingers on Malkin's line for most of the time.
Yeah, and it hockey chemistry, even though it's called chemistry, is definitely not a science. It's something that I think that you find something. I mean, nobody knows why the crash line was going to work or why the A line worked, but they did, and they basically helped lead the team to 2 cups. So
yeah,
and some of the most famous lines in Devils history. But to me, when you find a line that works, you've got to ride it and see if you can get Kuokkanen going, because I think he's an important player on this team.
Yeah, he was important last year. He has a lot of skills, and just something's just not clicking this year. I agree with that. So kind of just jumping off of that, this team was. I thought the hype was a little bit too early. You know, Jeff Merrick was somebody who's been just all over this team just 2 weeks ago, saying like, "Watch out for the Devils! Like they could be serious contenders in this Metropolitan Division." I was like, "All right, let's calm down, buddy. Let's take it down a notch. I don't want those kind of hypes around us." And then just like that, 4-game losing streak, looking real bad in 3 of them. I think they've won 2 games in their last 11. And the Metro in itself has been pretty bad lately. I think the Rangers are losing 6-2 tonight. But the bottom 5 teams have just been kind of all keeping each other in it. So Devils aren't out of it by any means, but it seems like I was taken aback by Scott Wheeler of The Athletic saying today that the Devils are out of it. He listed all the teams and where he thinks they are. He listed the Devils as out of it. It kind of took me aback. I thought it was like, okay, well, it's also a little early for that. What is your assessment as far as expectations and what we should think of this team moving forward?
I mean, the stated goal from Tommy Fitzgerald before the season started was that he wanted them to be in the playoff mix. He wanted them to be fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year. And I still think they're well within range of doing that. I feel my favorite player on the team is Jack Hughes. Like I love Jack. I think that he's got unbelievable star potential. I'm really excited that he got signed long term. That injury, I think, really hurt him. And I told my son at the time when he was injured, I said, even when Jack comes back, I think it'll probably take him at least 4 or 5 games, if not a little bit longer, before you start to see the guy that you saw at the beginning of the year. Plus, I mean, who knows how much shoulders are such tricky things for hockey players. Who knows how much that's still impacting him. If he can get going, I honestly think that they have a good enough team to be competitive. I still would like to see the defense shored up a little bit more. I mean, Ty Smith's been abysmal so far this year. It was good to see him get an assist on the power play. Oh, and for God's sakes, we scored a power play goal too. So that's another good thing.
We're the greatest.
I know. But honestly, I'm not going to count the team out just because I was pretty high on them staying in the conversation for the year, and I still think they're going to stay in. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be right in the bubble of getting there. A lot depends on Mackenzie Blackwood, Jonathan Bernier. Bernier looked horrible, I thought, in Winnipeg, but that might be because he hasn't played that much. I mean, there's a whole lot of factors going in there, and Mackenzie hasn't been what we think he can be yet either. I have this little theory. The other night, the Devils, they were playing Ottawa, and the second goal that they gave up, Bratt was trying to make an offensive play out of the zone. And I'm not going to harp on Jesper Bratt because he's been their best offensive player so far this year. But that gets picked off. It gets kept in the zone. And Dougie Hamilton proceeds to give it away again. And then he doesn't cover the guy in front who was wide open for the tying goal. I have this theory in hockey that the great teams make mistakes, but they don't make multiple mistakes in one shift. Like the Tampa Bay Lightning wins Stanley Cups because they will make a mistake, but they'll have somebody help cover for it most of the time. Or you've got Vasilevsky in goal to cover for that mistake. You don't typically see a team like Tampa Bay make 2-3 mistakes in a row that lead to goals. So I think for the Devils to take that next step, they just have to get to a point where they don't make those brain dead plays on consecutive moments in a shift. And that happened, I think, you could see multiple times in Minnesota and Winnipeg when those things took place as well. And that's when the Devils tend to go off the rails. If they can I'm not saying that you need to be perfect, but you make the mistake and then your teammate helps clean up the mistake rather than exacerbates and makes the mistake worse. That's the difference between going from a mediocre, middling team to being an elite team in this league.
Yeah, and right now I think the Devils are a middling team, and I think that they're kind of trying to keep their head above water. It's not really working. I wouldn't say that they're drowning yet, but they've looked weird since Jack Hughes has returned. You said Jack Hughes is your favorite player. Most people can see why. He's dynamic. He's exciting. He's fun. He can do a lot of things in the ice that a lot of other people can't do. But it's been weird since he's returned. They haven't won since he's returned, and I don't want to say he looks bad because I don't think he looks bad, but he looks disjointed. I don't want to say he looks disjointed. I think the line he's on is always disjointed. When they paired him with Hischier, first of all, they paired him with Hischier and then took Zach off Hischier's line to put Zach at center, which we've seen not work multiple times. So that didn't work. So they put Zaka back in line with Hughes at the wing. Again, it didn't work because it's not Hughes is a distributor. I don't know why you're putting him at the wing, but whatever. So he looks a lot better now that they put him back at center, but he still doesn't look like the first two games. He looked like the best guy on the ice in both games, and it was easy. He looked better than Patrick Kane. He looked better than anybody in the Kraken. He was just dynamic. He was exciting. He was great. He hasn't looked like that guy yet. Are you worried that the shoulder injury might have forced him to take a step back for this season, or do you think that he'll eventually it's just we do need to be patient with Hughes at least?
I think he's going to click. I really do. I sort of view the last four games and 2 periods as his preseason again, because if you miss 17 games, that's a long time. And again, who knows how much his shoulder's still bothering him. I thought his best game since he's been back was the last one. I thought there were shades of the exciting Jack Hughes we saw in the 4 periods at the beginning of the year. But I've always been a fan also of the Hischier, Bratt, Zaka line as well, because they're all friends in real life, and that chemistry seems to really transfer to them on the ice. So I think they're a fantastic group for that reason. It's the same thing that I was telling you about. I really think if you look at from the analytics that I saw last year, Kokkonen was very much the guy who dug in the corners and got the puck for Sharangovich and Hughes. And Hughes was kind of a distributor, and Sharangovich was the trigger man. I'm in favor of putting Kokkonen back with them. And because I do think that Johnson and Mercer also have that chemistry. To me, and that's my big problem, honestly, with someone like Lindy Ruff. Like, questionable decision about putting Hughes on the wing. I understand you didn't want him taking faceoffs, but they've tried Hughes and Hischier together before, and it never worked. So why are you?
And you can have Sharangovich take faceoffs very easily.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I just, to me, some of the decisions he's made have been perplexing to me. And when the Devils make those 2 or 3 bad decisions in a row, they've talked about accountability. The Devils are supposed to all be about accountability this year. Well, it seems like the accountability only goes to the smaller paychecked players, from what I've seen. Probably, and I'm not going to say you sit Dougie Hamilton because he gives you a lot of offense and he gives you a lot of things, but when you go around and make these proclamations that this season's all about accountability, and then you bench certain players when they make mistakes, and then you don't bench other ones, to me it sends a mixed message that some are above the accountability and some aren't. So I wasn't crazy about Lindy Ruff as a hire in the first place. I'm also not necessarily crazy about what's out there. A lot of people are calling for Tortorella and guys like that, and I think Tortorella
I don't
would
like
probably
Tortorella for this group.
He would probably ruin Jack Hughes. So that's not something that I would want to see. If anything, if we're going to make a change, I would love to see Kevin Dineen. When I first got into hockey when I was really young, I was a Whalers fan. I was growing up in Boston and loved Mike Liut, and Kevin Dineen was playing for the team at the time. I would love to see Kevin Dineen. I think Kevin Dineen is a good, solid coach who clearly is getting the best out of the farm team and knows the Utica Comet players really well and can make some decisions based on their capability and put them in the best place to succeed. I mean, granted, it helps that both of the goalie prospects are playing absolutely lights out, but I think if you were going to make a switch, which I'm not saying that they should, but I would go with the Kevin Dineen route rather than anybody like Tortorella. I just think, the Blue Jackets look like a completely rejuvenated team this year without Tortorella behind the bench, putting his thumb on all of them. So, and
the other side of that is that who else is out there and what your other options are. I know people have brought up Rick Tocchet. I know the prevailing wisdom is people want Ricard Gronberg, but he just keeps re-signing in Switzerland, so I don't know if he wants to come. And the other side of this, it's not like if you don't hire Dineen that he's just going to go back with his tail between his legs and happy as a clam to do the AHL again. He might. Other teams are going to call him. He is on the record. The Binghamton Devils were the worst team in the AHL last year, and this year they are the best team in the AHL. That is on people's radar, especially with so many coaching vacancies. We're playing a team with a coaching vacancy tonight. I know Vancouver immediately hired Bruce Boudreau, but he was probably the best guy out there that people might, the best fill-in guy. And now he's gone. He's in Vancouver.
I would have loved Bruce Boudreau for this team. I would have loved Bruce
He would have been a good fit.
Because we're not. This team is not looking to win a Stanley Cup right now. I would love it if they did, but I don't think they're there yet. They don't have enough talent. They don't have enough experience yet. They don't have enough to take that step. I think Bruce Boudreau is an excellent regular season coach. He's also shown that he's excellent with star players and young players. And the Devils have a ton of both of those things. So, So I think he would have been a perfect fit, but he's gone now. So we got the rest of the crew to pick from.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk around it's talking about young star players. Alexander Holtz, a lot of talk around him today because he's not on the Sweden juniors roster that's going to Edmonton for the World Junior Championships, but they left a forward spot open, and the reports out there are saying that the Swedish officials are waiting on the Devils to make a decision on Holtz. Now, Holtz has been a tweenered NHL, AHL player. He looks good at times in the AHL. He looks lost at times in the AHL. He looks great at times in the AHL. He looks, and other times they just don't need him. So he kind of, he's really good at what he's great at. If you're the Devils, are you making the decision to send him to juniors, hoping he builds that confidence that he didn't last year? Maybe a little redemption tour for him with Team Sweden?
Yeah, if you're not going to bring him up and play him with Jack Hughes, then let him go have that experience. I think eventually he's talented enough, and that NHL that he possesses is a perfect match for Jack. Because Jack is so good at getting the people the puck in the right spots to take advantage of a shot. I would send him. Like let him have that experience. Let him represent his country. It's supposed to be a pretty controlled environment. I would send him for sure. if you're not going to call him up and make him a part of the team now. Which, who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they will bring him up and put him on Jack's line and put Sharangovich on left wing or something. I don't know. We shall see. But it's pretty salivating to think about Jack with shots like that on both of his wings too. So who knows? But if you're not going to do that, I would send him over.
So before we let you go, as a blogger myself, somebody who's been blogging for 10 years, it would be silly of me to not have a legend like yourself in the blogging world come on here. And not at least, there's a lot of people out there, and I've told them that I like to give people chances. I feel like that's the whole point of sports blogging, is to kind of allow people to gain the experience, allow people that might not get it a chance to become, a sports writer, a sports reporter. So for the people out there listening, for those that might be listening tomorrow on their drive home, who might be, what is some advice that you have for them if they're looking to get into the game that you once mastered?
Honestly, I would say the best thing that you can do is get your voice out there. There's a reason that the company was eventually called Vox Media. It was about giving people a voice, and truthfully, the Devils actually, it's funny because they're in a situation now where there's not a lot of coverage of their team. The Athletic, even a paid subscription, is now has somebody split between the Devils and the Rangers once Corey moves to San Jose. So
and that person is covering the Rangers tonight, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. She was on Sirius XM earlier today talking about the Devils, but she was talking about it more from an analytics standpoint because she's not really on the beat yet. So I honestly, the truth is I saw an opportunity because the Oakland Athletics weren't getting covered the way that I wanted them to be covered. So I went ahead and thankfully I had a friend who had a technology that could help me make a blog because I was not really a tech guy. But there's so many different avenues to get your voice out there these days that if you have smart opinions, they're opinions. So there's going to be people who disagree with them. But if you have smart opinions, I think it's relatively easy in this day and age for anybody to grow a pretty good audience for it. As long as they're smart and they're intelligent and they're backed up by what is perceived as facts and things that as your years of covering sports. So
yeah,
I think the biggest thing to me is I had a background in covering sports. My degree is in journalism, and I covered hockey when I was in college for a hockey magazine. So I did a lot of interviews. I interviewed like Ken Danico and all kinds of people like that. Pavel Bure back in the day, Barry Melrose back when he was the Kings coach. It was a great experience, taught me a lot. But I think what I learned the most from that experience was that we're all subjective, all of us. And I think there's a myth of reporters being objective, and I don't know how possible it is. Somebody gave me this great example once, and I won't name names, but they told me that there was a report that came out about who a leader was on a team, and they talked incessantly about what a great leader this person was, what a fantastic person, and how well respected it was. And well, someone involved in the team came up to me and basically told me it was complete and total bunk. Like, it was just because that player was really nice and got in the good graces of a certain person. So that was why it was being reported publicly that way. And it was one of those eye-opening things that kind of confirmed what I always thought, is that the media, if players are nice, even if they're struggling and they haven't been performing and they haven't been earning their contract or anything, but the media tends to be nice to the people who are nice to them. Just because we're human beings, and I don't blame them. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I sort of felt like when I started SB Nation that it was removing that veil of objectivity that everybody thought existed, and I don't necessarily. I sort of thought that we were wearing our fandom on the sleeve and being out in the open for once. So that would be what I would say. Just be intelligent, be smart, back yourself up, and there will always be people that disagree with you because it's the internet in the year 2021 going on to 2022. But and then that would be the biggest thing to me. Try and find the biggest avenues for visibility. Like, it's so different these days with social media and all these other places where you can build yourself up and show your knowledge in a way where you don't necessarily need to build your own platform or anything. So that would be my.
I'm always looking for new writers at Pucks and Pitchforks. I will take you on. No experience needed. I'll teach you. I'd
have to talk to Ron all about the jersey.
Yeah. So no, there's plenty of places to go and get your voice heard. And I've given props to All About the Jersey because I think some of the guys in there are really good at what they do, and I enjoy their writings. And they've built a community that the comment section is something that they've mastered that I've just never been able to do like at Pucks and Pitchforks. So I got to give them credit where credit is due. They're doing a lot of good things over there. So, SB Nation as a whole, they have a lot of great communities.
We did make it like one of the highest priority things, even from when I started, was great community moderation. The company itself has built great tools to be able to moderate comments, because in reality, it's really, really difficult in this day and age to find a safe corner of the internet. There's a lot of hate and a lot of divisiveness out there. So it was really important back in the day, and it was built into the DNA of the company and the way we covered sports. And that's one of the things that I'm most proud of, is that we, for the large part, almost all of our communities are pretty non-toxic.
But yeah, I know that you're up against it, so I did want to let you get out of here. Tyler, I'm so excited to have you on. I want to have you on again. We'll talk Devils hockey soon. We'll talk blogging. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much.
Well, coming on brought them luck, so maybe we have to do this more often.
Oh, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Thanks so much, Tyler. I appreciate it.
All right, take it easy, Nick. Bye, Sam.
Bye. That is Tyler Bleszinski, founder of Vox Media and SB Nation, giving us some tips. Nick, I was just fascinated by this entire interview. Fascinated.
Yeah, listen, somebody in the comment section, I gotta yell at them. They're trying to take you from me. They're saying Sam should be the next writer for the Devils. He does write for he writes about the Devils. He writes for the Devils.
I write for pucksandpitchforks.com. Are you kidding me? I do billions of podcasts. My goodness. And yeah, I'll write some more. I'm writing. I already have half written about Stan Fischler needing to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm already writing.
Oh well, yeah. You should finish that tonight, because he goes into the U.S. Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also,
Hall of Maven. Let's go. Hashtag.
Yeah. Well, of course. And this is a labor of love, what we do here. I'm still, there's a game going on across the street here at Todd's Lounge 973. I hope a victory will send a lot of people here at Todd's Lounge 973 when I do Devils After Dark with Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal. This is what we do. And, getting to Tyler's point, like, it's and you should know this, Nick. It's not hard when you do this type of content, is when you've got passion behind it, you love it, but also the drive comes from not so much the clickbait, not so much the attention, because that, yeah, I admit sometimes it's nice, but it really comes for that's what you are and what you do. We are New Jersey Devils fans, so there's going to be a bias there. It's going to be very opinionated. But at the same time, Nick, you and I have always differed on opinions about on this podcast. Yeah, and sometimes I just don't want to talk to you for 3 weeks, but we wound up talking the next week because I've already forgot. I'm just kidding. Just jokes. Just jokes. You're coming here next Thursday. I have to be nice to you. I got to be a good host. Like you were a great host to me when I was in Tampa.
We're doing. We might. I don't know. We still got to make a plan for our Wednesday show. We got to see. Are we doing we might do a side-by-side podcast for the first time in a long time.
Whoa. Yeah. Well, I mean, does that even? Well, does Amalie Arena count? I mean, that sort of counts.
We haven't done a Wednesday show side by side. Yeah, that was Tatar. Tatar just missed a wide open net, but it's been like this game has been weird. The Devils have just been, and we've seen this before. The Devils just drilling the other team for 30 minutes on end, and then we see them go up and give 2 goals back to back. So that's kind of my worry, Sam, is that they've been drilling the Flyers for about 15 minutes of on-ice play, and they have nothing to show for it since the start of the third period. So I'm a little worried about what's going on for the rest of the game.
What's the score right now? I don't even know.
It's still 2-0. They pulled the Pavel Zacha goal off. I guess somebody was clearly offside, so that's fine. But they just need they just need to. I mean, they need to finish them off. That's the thing that they've been really bad at.
Well, that's
is
what
just
Scotty's
taking the
been
gun.
Saying. Yep, that's what Scotty's been saying.
Put them out of their misery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wrote about this, Sam.
Take the Flyers. Sorry, take the Flyers behind the barn and put them down. That's what they got to do. Hate to be grotesque about it, but
just
that's kind of
going in. I went through. I kind of really dug in, and I know people like to rag on advanced stats, but I went into shot selection and how the Devils take their shots. So they take more snapshots than any team in the league, and it's not close. They have like 30, I think it's like 30-something more snapshots than the Carolina Hurricanes, who are second. Which tells me, when I think of a snapshot, Sam, I think of like the puck is rolling on your stick a little bit, and you're trying to corral it, and you just throw it at the net. And 9 times out of 10, that just hits the goalie in the chest. And if you've watched the Devils this year, you know they hit the goalie in the chest a little too often. Right?
Yes. Yep.
And for them to do that the most in the league.
Their shots.
Yeah, their shots are not I don't know. I don't want to say they're not thought through because I don't know that. I just say that the effectiveness of their shot is very low. They have a lot of high danger chances, and that's the flaw of advanced statistics. Is we're talking about chances.
Nick,
we're not talking about.
Nick, let me tell you something. That was one of the best written articles that combined common sense and analytics. I read that the other day. I just want to congratulate you on that because you know me, I hate numbers. I really do. Like and I'm not saying that because you're my boss and I owe you a blog. But what I will say though, and I'll add my 2 cents to what your blog said. What they're doing is actually textbook. A lot, but it's almost too perfect and too scripted. It's not. I wouldn't say quick enough. It's not surprising. So when this is the NHL, if the goaltender can see the puck, clearly see the puck, 99.9% of the times with the amount of equipment they're wearing and how athletic they are nowadays and how big they are, they're going to make the save. That's why the
Yeah.
Devils are shooting right, straight into the crest often. I mean, it's all textbook. Now, my argument is let's not be so perfect, because once a shot's not that perfect, it starts to bounce around, and suddenly you start to get the bounces your way. That's all I'm saying. I know that just sounds
And,
very elementary, but that's my thinking on it.
and that's also what's wrong with the power play, right? Is trying to be too perfect.
Yeah.
There's times where they have a ton of offensive possession and they make 11 passes. They don't get a shot.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Stop trying to be too perfect, because then you get into a position where you now have to make a desperate play just to get a shot off. You know what I mean? Like and that's how you get 200. I think it's like 226 snapshots going into this game. And they're not anywhere up high in any of the other types of shots. It's only snapshots. So I think that, and I know we have to, there's only about 10 minutes left in the third period. So I know you got to get ready for Devils After Dark. So this will be my last point, but I think that the Devils have to. The reason why the Devils won in 2018 is because of Taylor Hall making spectacular plays and then dirty goals. Brian Boyle type goals, Blake Coleman type goals, Miles Wood type goals, and they're not getting those this year. They're not in a place where they're creating rebounds. They're not in a place where they're getting opportunities in high danger areas unless it's a spectacular play. And you can't rely on spectacular plays. You also need to rely on gross looking plays that will set up a spectacular looking chance. So that's my 2 cents on this, Sam. I guess I was angry tonight. I had a lot of pent-up anger on this team. I feel a little bit better now.
Yeah.
That interview really peeved me. I'm not going to lie to you. But what are you going to do? We probably won't get Blitzer on this podcast anytime soon.
I thought you meant Tyler. I'm like, Tyler.
Oh no! I meant Blitzer's interview. Sorry, Tyler, if you heard that.
Well, you never know.
I was very happy with your interview.
You never know. David Blitzer may make a appearance at Taj Lounge 973 for Devils After Dark. You just never know. You better stay tuned. You better come to Taj Lounge 973 after the game, if you're happening to be watching right now in the stands.
He's in bed right now. What are you talking about? He went home to count his money after Forbes.
Well.
The Forbes list. Did you see the Forbes list today? Did you see how much the Devils are worth?
No. How much? 800?
$775 million.
Woo! That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you and I could be a value-added benefit to David Blitzer's life if we let him come onto the podcast. I'll let you.
Our plus minus is high. It's league leading plus minus.
He's never gonna come.
Nah, it's fine. But anyway, I do have a fun article coming out tomorrow. I didn't want to talk about the negativity of the team anymore. Just wanted a little history article. So I talked about with somebody mentioning Kyle Palmieri and a possible return to the Devils. I kind of looked at some of the past returns, like Claude Lemieux, Scott Gomez, just to kind of see how they went and what it was like when the Devils reacquired old friends, we'll call them. So that's coming out tomorrow morning. I wrote about Holtz and what the Devils should do with Holtz and World Juniors. That's out right now. And then that shot evaluation article is out too. So go check that out too.
Awesome. I'll be here at Taj Lounge 973 after the game. Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal and I will recap the game that was. Hopefully it will be a Happy Devils recap. I want to thank all the nice comments in the comments section on YouTube Live and Facebook Live and on Twitter Live. Hopefully we get a win, everybody. Stay positive. Till next time, let's go Devils.